Alright guys, welcome back. Let's talk about something that I have just gotten into this past summer and I am really confused why I haven't done this in previous years, especially down here in Florida. And that is a technique called the power shot. So the power shot, if you haven't heard of it before, is the same concept as a drop shot where you have a weight at the bottom and then a hook just floating up above, okay? But usually a drop shot has an open, very light wire hook that you're just nose rigging like a small minnow or a small worm. It's generally thought of as a ultra finesse technique, something that you're going to be doing up north or really cold water. Obviously, it works all the time anywhere. But with all the grass that I have down here, it's not really something that I can do all the time. And this summer, I thought to myself, I got to try out this power shot. I've been hearing people talk about it. I've always kind of wondered if it would do okay. And I started using it, and instantly I realized two things. The fish bite it. That's the first one, the most important one. And the second one is I wasn't even trying this technique to solve this problem, but I realized by trying this technique that the problem of pulling muck off the bottom whenever you fish like a jig or a Texas rig or anything on the bottom. That's the biggest problem for me in Florida is you have a lot of these lakes, especially ponds and stuff, have this muck at the bottom. And so I really can't fish effectively like a jig or a Texas rig because you'll cast it out there, let it sink to the bottom, and you'll lift it up one time and you already go, okay, I have a pound of moss on my bait. There's no way to snap it out. It's like slime on it. And then that whole cast is ruined. So then you just start going to weightless lures or other things or, moving baits, things that aren't going to sit on the bottom. But I always knew that that was missing a lot of key bites is being able to have a bait hold to the bottom but is not getting stuck in the grass. And what I found with this power shot is that the weight goes down and sinks into the muck. It doesn't matter how deep it might go that far into the muck. The bait is still up here, almost like a weightless bait, and it'll just lightly sink and it'll just land kind of right on top of the stuff. And then when I pull it up, the bait is clean. The weight might have some junk on it, but it doesn't matter because that's not what the fish are focused on. There's some junk on this, we'll lift it up, put it down here, dance the bait around a little bit, and then it'll kind of sink down to the bottom. And I just found this thing is extremely weedless, like almost like I would flip and pitch into mats with it. I mean, like it seemed to come out of anything. It was unbelievable. And once I figured that out, it kind of opened up the door for me to go back to using baits like larger curly tail worms, beavers, speed worms. You can really throw just about anything on here. Flukes. I mean, you can throw whatever you want on here, whatever the day calls for. But it's super interesting. It just got me thinking, why is this not something that is primarily used? I mean, everyone hears about the Texas rig and a jig, and I wonder why the power shot isn't mixed in with that conversation. Because to me, I can't really fish a Texas rig or a jig most days because of the amount of grass everywhere. So for me on those days, if I want to fish a slow moving bottom bait, I have to go with a power shot. And I was just kind of thinking, why is that the case? And I feel like just a lot of people default to, like I did for years, default to Texas rig or default to jig. And if you can't fish those, then okay, well then look elsewhere, go to something else. But I just want to encourage you guys to try this out. Tying it up is super easy. You just tie up an EWG hook like you would, pretend like you're tying any other weightless bait. Just give yourself a little bit extra tag end when you tie your knot. And then that extra tag end, you're going to want to feed through the top of the hook right there so that it goes down. That will keep the bait sitting. See how this bait is sitting sitting horizontal. See how it wants to kind of stand up. So you feed the tag end back through the eyelet of the hook down, and then you just tie like a super simple little, clinch knot or something onto your weight. Now I will recommend if you're just casting it around, like not in heavy cover, you don't have to go that heavy. Quarter ounce, 3/8 ounce little weight here. I think this is a Ryugi little free rig weight, like that open ring right there. I like to tie it on. And then if you're in some heavier stuff and you need to get your bait in through, you can go half, 3/4. That's more like pitching and flipping. But for me, just casting around where there's not a lot of cover, it just has muck on the bottom, quarter ounce, 3/8 ounce works super well. It's extremely versatile. All right, guys, let me know if you use the Power Shot. If you have, tell me if you got some big fish on it. Tell me some great baits that you've been using, because I'm still trying to build out my arsenal and kind of build out my understanding of the Power Shot. But I thought it was super interesting, thought I wanted to share. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and take a look at my other videos on the channel. I appreciate it, you guys. See you in the next one.